Hello everyone, my name is Shivam Singh, and today we are going to talk about disaster management. So often we hear that there have been heavy rainfall in northern part of India, and that have led to landslides and flooding in especially in hilly areas, and this has resulted into death of many people. This is a kind of considered as a disaster. Earlier, many people have died in eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar due to heat waves. So, what are these disasters? What are the various associated concepts? And how we manage these disasters in India? This is what basically is our topic, or you can say part of our syllabus. So, it is part of our UPSC mains GS Paper III syllabus, and it is mentioned like this: disaster management in India. Questions directly asked from this part, though there has been no subcategorization under this particular topic, but based on the previous year question paper, we can say that questions are often asked from four dimensions. First one is various definitions, and they asked about certain definition, and then they built on that and add certain other aspect of disaster management based on that particular concept. The definition and associated concepts. Then the second one is organization and various other legal provisions that are there in India to deal with disaster management. So basically, it talks about what are the various legal framework, or you can say legal framework to deal with disasters, like Disaster Management Act, and what are various organizations that have been created, and what are the various guidelines, or you can say legal frameworks that are there to help these organizations in countering various disasters. So we are going to cover this also. So questions in your mains examination have also been asked from this section. In fact, this is the most important section in your UPSC syllabus, from where questions have been often asked. Now the third one is they have often asked individual disasters, and individual disasters like landslide, earthquake, or tsunami, and they have added certain other aspect to it, like how India deal with these disasters and whether India has been successful in dealing with these disasters. So they ask questions on these lines also. Now the next one is international agreements and cooperation between India and other organizations, or you can say international organizations. Questions have also been asked in this context, like your Sendai framework that India also has signed. So, or Hyogo Protocol that was there since 2005, or any other initiative that India took to help other countries in the world. The questions can also be asked from that dimension. So based on these, we can classify our whole syllabus into 5 subcategories. So first, we are going to deal with introduction. In introduction, we are going to introduce you with certain topics, certain concepts, and with certain examples, and we'll try to clarify those topics, or you can say we are going to define those topics that you can use them directly in your mains examination. We are going to provide you definition and with examples, and that will help you in writing, you can say, introduction of your various questions in the mains examination. Now after that, we are going to deal with disaster management in India. Under this, we are going to see how we manage disasters in India. What are the organizational structure, legal framework, operative mechanisms. All these things we are going to deal under this topic. Now third one is hazards and disasters in India. Under this, we are going to understand what are the different hazards that India often deal with and how India has been managing these disasters. For example, currently we are experiencing many landslides in the hilly regions of India, especially your Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. So we are going to deal with how state disaster, you can say response force or national disaster response force, with the help of many other local organizations or people managing these disasters, or you can say somehow mitigating the impact of these disasters. So we are going to deal that also. In the international aspect, we are going to cover various international agreements as we talk about this, like Sendai Framework or Hugo Protocol, international agreements. And we are also going to talk about what are the various agreements between India and other international organizations like your United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction and many other, you can say, international institutions are there that deal in, you can say, disaster management around the world, and that also help India in various ways in dealing with disasters. We are going to cover that aspect as well. Then last one is miscellaneous topics. Under this, we are going to cover whatever that is left, like role of social media in disaster management, or for that matter, role of media in disaster management. Now the AI has been a new concept, so we are going to cover that also. What role AI can play in managing disasters in India? What is community-based management of disasters? What is the you can say relationship between poverty and disasters? We are going to cover all other miscellaneous topics that are there under your disaster management. So now let's understand what we are going to cover under these heads in a more detailed manner. The first one is introduction. Under this, we understand what is disaster, what is hazard, what is difference between this disaster and hazard, and then we'll understand what is the vulnerability and what is the risk factor, and then we'll understand capacity of a society to deal with these disasters. Then we'll understand what is disaster management cycle. Basically, it is pre-disaster and post-disaster management. We are going to deal with this. And so we are going to cover the entire introduction part under these, you can say, broad headlines. And we'll understand each of these with certain examples. And we'll try to clarify each concept in a more detailed manner so that you can use them in your mains answer writing, or you can say in your mains questions. Now, second one is disaster management in India. So under this, we are going to deal with background. What is the background, or you can say what are the previous efforts that have been taken by India to manage various disasters. Then we are going to understand about Disaster Management Act of 2005. Under this, we have created many mechanisms like your National Disaster Response Force, National Disaster Management Authority, and also many other organizations we have created under this. We are going to deal with these things in a more detailed manner. Then we are going to cover your National Policy Disaster Management 2009. Then we are going to cover National Disaster Management Plan of 2016. And in last, we are going to cover National Disaster Management Cycle in India. So we are going to cover this aspect of disaster management under these heads in a more detailed manner. Now, next one is hazards and disasters in India. Under this, we are going to cover India's vulnerability to various risks, various disasters. Under this, we'll try to highlight what are areas that are, you can say, prone to disasters, which kind of disasters happen in what kind of area, or we can say which kind of disasters happen in particular area, and what is the sensitivity of those areas, and what kind of losses that happen or occur in those areas. And after that, we are going to cover individual disasters that often occur in India, like tsunami, earthquake, landslides. Okay, so these are the natural disasters. Now there are also man-made disasters like Bhopal gas tragedy, various accidents. So all these things are man-made disasters. We are going to cover those also. And there are many more. We are going to cover each of them in a more detailed manner. And we will try to comprehensively understand what are the various measures that Indian government or various organizations in India have, you can say, took to counter these disasters and mitigate their impact on the human society, or you can say Indian society. We are going to cover each of them in a more detailed manner. And after this, we are going to cover international aspect. In international aspect, we are going to cover various international frameworks, disaster risk reduction. So what are the various frameworks that have been taken to, you can say, for disaster risk reduction? For example, as I have talked to you about Sendai framework, Hugo protocol, or your UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, or the India's coalition, India-led coalition for disaster risk reduction. So these things we are going to cover. Then we'll also cover India's partnership with various international organizations dealing with disasters. For example, India partnered with WHO and or you can say provided vaccines to various African countries. That is also known as vaccine diplomacy. So we are going to cover that also. India supports. You can say India sent its natural disaster response force troops to Nepal when it was facing various disasters, or it has often sent its military or you can say navy to various countries in the region like Sri Lanka or your Maldives to help them in dealing with various disasters. So we are going to cover that also, that aspects as well here. Now, in the miscellaneous, we are going to cover topics like what is disaster insurance, what is role of social media and media in disaster management, what is the relationship between poverty and disasters, what is community based disaster management, what is the link between climate change and disasters, various National Disaster Management Authority guidelines for, you can say, countering or for managing various disasters. So we are going to deal with these miscellaneous topics as well. So using these, you can say, broad frameworks, we are going to cover the whole disaster management topic, and we'll try to cover these topics using previous year question paper, using various examples, using various, you can say, best practices or initiatives taken by either Indian government or any organizations of India or world. We are going to comprehensively cover the whole aspect of disaster management. And after this lecture, it would be suffice for you to deal with any question that has been asked in your UPSC mains examinations. You'll be able to answer all those questions without any hesitations if you read and learn all these lectures. Okay, guys, bye bye. Take care.